Okay, so before we can jump into this, I just want to acknowledge Murphy's Law, right? Which is I'm giving a grammar lecture, so I am pretty much guaranteed to make a ton of grammatical errors in explaining these concepts to you. That's just how this works. So, for any of you listening, I will give you 100,000 bonus points for every single grammar error you can find. I'll try to listen for them myself and correct them, but just know my tongue is going to slip. I'm going to make some verbal gaffes. It's going to be hilarious. All right, let's start. I want to start at the beginning of most of my relationships with my students where they come into my office for the first time and they make a confession. And it really doesn't matter if they're like an AP Lang rock star or someone who's really struggling in basic English. Most of my students usually confess to being bad at grammar. And that's pretty weird. But what's even weirder beyond that is no matter if they're like an A student or a D student, they claim the same reasons for being bad at grammar, which were they were taught it in middle school and they forgot. So it happened a long time ago. Or they say their teacher was bad. Or they say they're, not much of a reader, not their thing. They were taught, but it's not their thing, and they just couldn't understand it or get it. I find those answers really weird. Just like I find this characterization of their grammar as bad as weird. Because I think there's a secret here, right? They're bad at grammar, not because they didn't understand it, but I truly believe because they weren't taught it, right? People are bad at grammar because students are not taught grammar in school. So it's not that they're bad. See, I've already made a mistake. Grammar in school. So it's not that they're bad at grammar. It's that they're ignorant of grammar. And there's a secret behind the secret, which is that the SAT and ACT, their curricular expectations, which is just a fancy way of saying what they're going to be testing you on, it really hasn't kept pace with what you're taught in school. There was a time in educational history about 40, 50 years ago and before then when a thorough and precise study of grammar as an objective system of rules and regulations and how we express ourselves was very central to high school English classes. You spent a lot of time doing grammar. And while that's still true in some high schools, the vast majority, grammar has been pushed to the margins. And what's interesting is the SAT and ACT haven't reflected that change in their demands of you as a test taker. They're still expecting you to have the kind of thorough going knowledge of grammar that a student of 50 years ago would have. Right? So it's not that you're bad at grammar, it's you really haven't been taught it. And if you have been taught it, you've been taught it in a very subjective, touchy-feely, unhelpful way. And I can prove this. How many of you out there, when being taught commas, your teacher, mentor, sensei told you some variation of, whenever you take a breath, put in a comma. Or whenever you would pause, put in a comma. Fun fact, that's not how commas work. In fact, that's not how grammar works. You can even hear in that, and then that piece of advice, by the way, is ubiquitous. I mean, I hear it from dozens of students every year, right? And it's totally wrong. You can actually hear in that piece of advice, put a comma where you would take a breath, that it's a subjective suggestion. And the whole point of grammar is that they're objective guidelines and regulations. They're standards that do not change, right? So an instruction on like, oh yeah, throw some commas where you want, that's the opposite of what grammar is. Grammar is a set of objective rules to which everybody has access and everybody agrees. Not do your own thing, right? So that's kind of a central irony that many kids have been taught under the context of grammar the exact opposite of what grammar is. But there's an even bigger secret. There's a bigger secret behind the secret behind the secret. And this is a liberating secret, which is that grammar makes things easier. It makes writing easier. It makes reading easier. And it makes understanding easier. So there's an unfortunate bias or stereotype against grammar that it's this overly fastidious, fussy, non-creative, uh, overly schematic program of rules that are really secondary and not helpful. And that's really unfortunate because grammar, when properly understood and properly applied, makes writing easier. I mean, if you've ever like puzzled over whether to use a semicolon, right? You haven't been taught proper grammar, right? If commas are still mysterious, you haven't been taught. And once you have been, the whole process of writing becomes enlightened, and the writer becomes empowered because now you know how those tools work, right? It's like having a machine and not knowing how the machine works, and suddenly you find the instruction manual and you can get more value out of the machine. Same with reading. You'll understand why editors and writers have made the choices they have, and you can understand the hierarchy of importance of ideas as dictated by the punctuation they use. Right? So grammar is actually a really transformative set of tools. And I hear routinely from past students that not just semesters, not just years, we're now going on decades after we've done SAT and ACT prep, they still find this grammar lecture to be a source of insight and an aid to their own expression and communication. True story, 2 weeks ago, I had a former SAT student who later went on to Berkeley, and then from Berkeley went on to medical school. And she was talking about how she still, in her applications for residency programs, in her emails to her attending physicians, in her everyday correspondence with patients, relies on these grammar rules to organize her thoughts, to make more coherent and concise her writing, which is exciting. So, long story short, right? You're not bad at grammar. You haven't been taught it. Okay, it's not a central concern of your teachers, really, but it is a central concern of the SAT and ACT. And it's actually an empowering and incredibly practical and helpful tool when properly understood. So let's get into it.